So, yeah, so we're on Judges. I don't know whoever said First Samuel, but Judges chapter 13, and we are going to start looking at um, verse 1. Let's get that up. Yeah. Okay. And hey, guess what? Surprise, surprise. How do you think we start off?
Israel's not looking good.
Right, right. Israel is not looking good. It starts off, and the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord delivered them into the hand of the Philistines 40 years. So, what are some things we can easily grab from verse 1?
They're not really learning a lesson.
No, they're not. Now, however, remember, there's a lot of time period between judges. So every generation or every other generation seems to have to learn this lesson. And as we've read, it's usually not, oh, today we did wrong, tomorrow we go into captivity. It's a slope. Okay. What else can we get from verse 1? Look at the second half of the verse.
It's the Lord that delivers them.
Deliver them where? Yeah. God said, okay. Not every bad situation is necessarily orchestrated by the devil. It's usually orchestrated by your stupidity. All right. And then God says, all right, let's get you to the point where you're not going to want your stupidity anymore. And they were delivered in the hand of the Philistines 40 years. Now, who are the Philistines? Okay, the Philistines, these are generally a people not even from this area. They come from Greece, they come from Egypt, they come from a lot of areas. As a matter of fact, what's interesting is today, what is the name of the area where Israel is? Generally known as, with a P, Palestine. Palestine. Emperor Hadrian, Roman Emperor Hadrian, hated the Jews so much that he just renamed the country. He says, and Palestine means the land of the Philistines. That's how much he didn't name it after the people that were still there. He named it after Israel's enemies because that's how petty Emperor Hadrian was. He gave us a nice wall, kept out the nasty Scottish, right? But that's who he was. One of my favorite Emperor Hadrian stories was when he was going through the empire, and word says he was actually in England, and he went to one of the baths, and there was a what you would do is you get all heated up in the bath, start sweating, and then you'd have your slave get like some oyster and scrape off the muck and everything off of you, and so Emperor Hadrian saw this one gentleman, and he was kind of rubbing up against the wall. And he said, Emperor Hadrian spoke to this man. He says, why don't you have your slave do it? And the man says, after retiring from service in the Roman army, there's just not enough money. Not complaining, that's just the fact. So Emperor Hadrian, man, gives him money, gives him a slave to take care of him, right? The next day, Emperor Hadrian goes into this Roman bath. Just about everybody's scratching their back against the wall because they want their slaves. And somebody says, "Oh, what are we to do? We're all loyal servants of the emperor." And he says, "Oh, well, there's enough of you. Just take care of each other's backs." And so he was also a wise gentleman. So anyways, the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord delivered them into the hand of the Philistines 40 years. Now, here's something you won't see. Nowhere will you see Israel cry out in repentance. Nowhere will you see Israel cry out for deliverance. I don't know if it's just been so long that they just think all the stories of God's deliverance in the past are just simply that, stories, or if they they have grown accustomed. By the way, people grow accustomed to slavery. I don't know if you knew that. Has anybody ever been part of a Passover Seder before? In the Passover Seder, there's different elements. And when I was a kid, I went to a few of them. And the thing that I really hated was there's a point in the Passover meal that you eat something called bitter herbs, and they're just they're terrible, and everybody has to eat them. So us kids, we get like a little leaf and just barely get it. The men would take a big handful, chew it, and they're crying. Okay, this is some of the herbs that horseradish is made out of. I mean, it's just terrible, and that's to remind them of the slavery that they've gotten out of, and again, uh, one of the issues in with slavery in the United States back in the 1860s was that not all the slaves wanted to be freed. I'm not saying they enjoyed everything at all, but they're freed, but freed to what? Sometimes we can get used to some pretty terrible situations as long as there's some security in them. And so that might be the thing. Israel was just used to a very terrible situation, the security of it. But the Bible then says in verse 2, there was a man of Zorah of the family of the Danites. So what tribe? Dan. And where is Dan located on the map of Israel? North, south, east, or west? North. Because remember the Jordan River from Dan? Dan's up the north. The Jordan River flows down. But you guys knew that. Okay. And there was a certain man of Zorah, the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah. And his wife was barren and bare not. What does that mean, barren? Can't have kids. And the Lord appeared unto the woman and said unto her, by the way, the angel of the Lord appeared. This is what we call a theophany. Okay? I want you to pay attention to everything that the angel of the Lord does. This is, what do I mean by theophany?
Is it God?
God appears on earth. Okay? This happened with Gideon. This happened other times. And usually the words out of their mouth is, we've seen God. Okay? Not in God's glory, not in the way he is, but certainly to a certain extent. And it says the angel of the Lord appeared unto the woman and said unto her, behold, now thou art barren and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. Who does the angel of the Lord go to? Why do you think she doesn't? Why do you think the angel of the Lord doesn't go to the husband?
Because she's the one that's having the kids.
She's probably the one having the kids, but she's also, as we're going to read, she's probably the person of more faith. Okay, and is able to receive it. And we actually see that in Scripture with, I think, well, definitely with Jesus's mom. Mary was told, and then the angel came to Joseph. Don't be afraid to take Mary as your wife. Who was John the Baptist's mom and dad? Elizabeth, yes, Elizabeth and her husband, and I'm pretty sure God went first to her, and when he went to the husband, he didn't believe it, and so therefore he was struck dumb until the birth. And so don't ever think that the Old Testament is all misogynistic, God only dealt with men or anything like that. You'll hear that, but we don't see that. Now, the angel Lord continues, now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not strong wine, nor strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing. All right. Does anybody know what those three things constitute? There was a certain vow you could take that's described in the Torah. It's called a Nazirite vow. A Nazirite vow. And with a Nazirite vow, you would not drink wine or strong drink, touch anything unclean, nor would you ever cut your hair. Okay, as a matter of fact, it's reported that when they took the Nazirite vow, some people think, Samson, he just had all these flowing locks everywhere, and he just kind of looked, really beautiful, and everything like that. But generally speaking, if somebody took the Nazirite vow, they wouldn't even brush their hair in fear that they would pull out a hair. So it wouldn't be a thing of vanity. It literally would be that they would look kind of scary. And indeed, this is a type of vow that Samson doesn't take, but is actually being kind of forced upon Samson. Can you think of anybody else in the Bible that took Nazirite vow? One in the New Testament, one in the Old Testament.
No, I was thinking John the Baptist. But
John the Baptist? No.
Because he went out in the wilderness and looked a bit.
John the Baptist was a little bit of a freak in his own way, all right? But actually, Paul. Oh. Paul did a Nazirite vow, and when he went to Israel, he actually he ended his Nazirite vow, and he shaved off his head, and it was weighed. That's one of the things that they would do. It's just what they do. The other one, I believe, was Samuel. So this is a Nazirite vow. Now, this is not a Nazarene vow. Jesus was a Nazarene, right? He was from Nazareth. This means something completely different. A Nazirite vow, it does not mean it's taken by somebody from Nazareth. The word Nazirite means separated or consecrated. Okay, those are some big words there. So anyways, the angel Lord tells Manoah's wife, even right now, he is going to be a Nazirite. So don't take any strong drink or any wine, nor eat any unclean thing. Verse 5. Susie, you look like you have a question. Your forehead is furrowed.
So what is a Nazirite?
A Nazirite vow is
no, not a vow, not a Nazirite, not the vow. What is a Nazirite? What?
A Nazirite is somebody that takes a Nazirite vow.
Why do they want to take the Nazirite vow?
It's just a vow of consecration before God.
Before God.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Verse 5, for lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son. This is not an immaculate conception or anything like that. This is not a virgin birth. This is going through normal things, but God says he's going to open up the matrix. That's a word used in Exodus. One described that women are able to give birth. The 1600s word was opens up the matrix, which I kind of thought when I first heard that matrix was in the Bible, I was thinking something completely different. I was more thinking of a movie than anything. But anyways, verse 5, for lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come upon his head. For the child shall be a Nazirite unto God from the womb. He shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. Now, I want you to kind of focus on this word. He shall begin to deliver. Right? It's not going to be complete. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even get completed until David, much later on. We've got after Judges, right? When Judges is done, we have Samuel. That's probably the last judge. And then we have Saul as king, but David finishes the job. So Samson is just starting this. He's just beginning it. He's beginning to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. Well, verse 6, then the woman came and told her husband, saying, a man of God came unto me. Very interesting. What did this angel of the Lord appear like? A man. A man. Um, I know in all the cute little plays that we have of all the kids running around, we have all the girls, and cute little. It's not that. It's not that. Every time the Bible describes an angel, it's a manly type of man where somebody's terrified and thinks they're going to die, but they always appear as men. Um, uh, but just as a little side note, I'm not trying to be crass when I say this, but let's just say I don't think scripturally they would have the same plumbing as a man. You know what I mean by that? And that they would just appear like a man, because Jesus said in the New Testament that heaven is neither marrying nor given into marriage, and so I don't think there would be any use of those organs because God creates angels. Angels don't get married and then have kids and everything like that. Okay, little cherubs, shooting little arrows at people's hearts. That's really not a biblical concept. Verse 7. The man of God said unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of God, very terrible. When we use the word terrible, what does that sound like? What does the word terrible mean today? Huh? Something bad. Yeah. Terrible means something that stops you in your tracks. This is a 1600s definition. It stops you in your tracks. It's powerful. Just the sheer majesty of it actually can bring terror. Okay, but it doesn't mean bad. But anyway, she says very terrible. But I asked him not whence he was, neither told me his name. But he said unto me, behold, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and thou drink no wine nor strong drink, neither eat any unclean thing, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb to the day of his death. And Manoah entreated the Lord and said, O my Lord, let the man of God which thou didst send come again unto us, and teach us what we shall do unto the child that shall be born. Now, this is interesting because didn't God already say what to do? Okay. I don't know if he thinks that maybe there's some other things that he's got to make sure, because apparently this child is going to be very unique, very special. But that's not mentioned, and so Manoah seems to be a very questioning, very inquisitive person. His wife is just like, yeah, this is what God said, so let's roll with it. Which type of person are you? Are you more like, yeah, this is what God said, let's roll with it? Or are you more like, no, I want to know more, let's investigate this, let's know more about it. And actually, that's weird because usually men and women are different that way. Because men, when they get information, I remember I could tell my wife, hey, Natalia called and they got in a car accident, and we won't see them tomorrow, and that's all I know. Well, are they hurt? Natalia just called to say that he was in a car accident, and that they won't be here tomorrow, and that's all I know. Oh, well, were the kids in the car? Well, Natalia called and said that they're in a car accident, and that they won't be there. But that's all I know. But the questions will still come. Usually, it's guys that just hear it and they're like, ugh. And the women want a little bit more information. Here, it's a little bit different. And God hearkened, verse 9, and God hearkened to the voice of Manoah, and the angel of God came again unto the woman as she sat in the field, but Manoah, her husband, was not with her. Okay, so God did hear what Manoah asked, but the angel of the Lord does not appear before Manoah. He actually appears before the wife. And the woman made haste and ran and showed her husband and said unto him, behold, the man hath appeared unto me that came unto me the other day. And Manoah rose and went after his wife, and came to the man, and said unto him, Art thou the man that spakest unto the woman? And he said, I am. And Manoah said, Now let thy words come to pass. How shall we order the child, and how shall we do unto him? And the angel of the Lord said unto Manoah, Of all that I said unto the woman, let her beware. I've already said it, you ask her. She may not eat of anything that cometh of the vine, neither let her drink wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing. All that I commanded her, let her observe. And Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord, I pray thee, let us detain thee until we have made ready a kid for thee. Now, this is kind of interesting. One or two things are being hinted at. Why would they make a kid? What's a kid?
Baby goat.
Baby goat. Could even be a lamb. And so why would they prepare a kid for this angel of the Lord? Could be a sacrifice. Could be a sacrifice. Or if they didn't quite know what's going on, maybe let's eat together. Okay? But they're definitely showing hospitality one way or the other.
So this person really does look like a man.
Yeah.
You would think from
Yes.
here.
Yeah. But again,
But then they
terrible.
say about, yeah.
Terrible.
So
There's more majesty behind it.
Mm.
And the angel of the Lord said unto Manoah, Though thou detain me, I will not eat of thy bread. And if thou wilt offer a burnt offering, thou must offer it unto the Lord. For Manoah knew not that he was an angel of the Lord. Okay, so there's going to be a sacrifice. Definitely it's going to be a sacrifice. And he says, I'm not going to eat your bread. If we're going to do sacrifice, you're going to have to sacrifice it unto the Lord. Verse 17, and Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord, What is thy name? That when the sayings come to pass, we may do thee honor. Now, this is a really, really cool verse. And we're not going to get it at first. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, Why askest thou thus after my name, seeing it is secret? Now, that word secret, if anybody looks it up, he says, Why askest thou after my name, seeing it is wonderful? Now, if this is indeed the angel of the Lord, this is indeed a theophany, God on earth, what is one of the names of the future Messiah that we see in the book of Isaiah? His name shall be called Wonderful Counselor. And when I saw that, I was like, oh,
That is pretty cool.
that's kind of cool. Yeah. So the angel of the Lord says, no, my name is Wonderful. So Manoah took the kid with a meat offering and offered it upon a rock unto the Lord, and the angel did wondrously. And Manoah and his wife looked on, for it came to pass, when the flame went up toward heaven from off the altar, that the angel of the Lord ascended in the flame of the altar. And Manoah and his wife looked on it and fell on their faces to the ground. So they're offering a sacrifice. The angel of the Lord goes with the sacrifice, and it goes straight to heaven. I mean, it's not just a little fire. The fire shoots up, and the angel of the Lord goes with it. And this is so stunning that Manoah and his wife fell down on their faces, okay? Verse 21, But the angel of the Lord did no more appear to Manoah and to his wife. Then Manoah knew that he was an angel of the Lord. And Manoah said unto his wife, We shall surely die. Why?
Because we have seen God.
Because we have seen God. So all I'm saying is you may not be completely sold on the idea that the angel of the Lord is a theophany. But I will tell you, whenever we see the angel of the Lord, it receives worship. It is called God many times. And so that's just how I see it. Okay. Um, verse 23. And his wife said unto him, if the Lord were pleased to kill us, okay, because all right, let's back. Verse 22. What does Manoah say is going to happen to them? We're going to die. Manoah is a Debbie Downer. He always, if there's a bad side to look at something, he's going to find it. If there's a problem, he's going to find it, right? He's just like, oh, who is this? What are we doing? I made a note that he always wants explanations and he's fearing death. Okay? But look at what his wife says. But his wife said unto him, if the Lord were pleased to kill us, he would not have received a burnt offering and a meat offering at our hands. You know, if we had done something wrong, because remember, whenever somebody felt that they were face to face with God, it's not like people in the charismatic movement where they said, oh, I saw Jesus at the end of my bed and we held hands and we skipped through the tulips and we caught some rainbow trout, but it wasn't yucky. It was really, really nice. It was pretty. And then we shot basketballs. Oh, and it was just so lovely. Listen, the reality is when somebody thinks they came face to face with God, they thought that was it. That was the end of it. And his wife says, now listen, if God really wanted to kill us, why, if we were in the wrong or if this was the end of life, why would he accept our sacrifice? Why would he accept the burnt offering and the meat offering at our hands? Neither would he have showed us all these things. If we were going to die, why would he tell us that we're going to have a kid and we got to do these things with him? Nor would as at this time have told us such things as these. Okay, so we really have here another beautiful example of the best person of faith in this situation was the wife, not the man. Okay, and God is no respecter of persons. He doesn't care your station of life. He doesn't care your nationality. He doesn't care of any of that. He cares your faith. He cares about that. Now, verse 24. And the woman bare a son and called his name Samson. Do we know what the name Samson means? Samson means like the sun, not S-O-N, but S-U-N, like the sun. Maybe that's because of the brightness when the altar was the sacrifice on the altar was taken. And the child grew, and the Lord blessed him. Do you think God knew what Samson was going to be like later on in life?
Yes.
Yeah. Look, God's still blessing him. And the Spirit of the Lord began to move him at times in the camp of Dan between Zorah and Eshtaol. Now, I've got a little challenge for you. Maybe through Bible Hub, or maybe through this, if you look at the phrase began to move him, it is began to move him means it can mean to profane, to defile, to pollute, to desecrate, to begin, to profane, make common, defile, pollute, to violate the honor of, dishonor, to violate, to treat as common, to be profaned. But it also means to begin. Now, to be profaned and all that stuff sounds really, really bad, doesn't it? And it sounds really negative. So how can this also mean just simply to begin? It doesn't mean simply to start. If we kind of bring all of this together, it means that, and again, here's the verse, the Spirit of the Lord began to move him at times. That means that that God forced Samson. God moved in him in such a way he disturbed Samson. He agitated Samson. Just think when Samson, did his mighty acts, his great times of strength. Does anybody remember some of the instances where he did that?
The temple.
The temple, but why did he do that?
Wasn't it to destroy?
Kill them all.
Yeah.
Kill them all. They plucked out my eyes. And this is another reason why don't worry about getting a haircut, okay? Because the earliest haircut that I see is here, and the very next thing that happens is the guy's eyes get gouged out. All I'm saying is that's just what the Bible said.
No, that's enough for me.
Yeah, it's enough for me. Okay, but yeah, he's angry. He wants vengeance. He's agitated. Okay, think about some other times.
When he killed all those Philistines with jawbone.
Jawbone, yeah. Why? Because he's mad. They did him wrong, and so he's going out. And this is amazing because we don't see him using his strength to honor God at all, not single one time. We don't see him saying, "Hey guys, let's honor the Lord and let's trust the Lord to go against the Philistines." We never ever see that. However, God used Samson in times of agitation because he might be also trying to teach the Philistines something a little bit more than what he's trying to do in Israel. God just doesn't have to do one thing. He can do multiple things. Now, do you guys remember how I think Samson looked like? What his muscles looked like? How big do you think Samson's muscles were? I don't think he had any. I think he looked pretty weak. Because, this was some, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson kind of guy. And he said, "Oh, I'll do this, I'll kill these." They go, "Wow, he's so strong." Right? But remember, they didn't have a clue where his strength came from. So this tells me that, bare minimum, he didn't look like a very powerful man. Now, of course, ripping off gates off their hinges and walking with them, I don't even think The Rock could do that. But nonetheless, I don't think he was a muscle-bound type of guy. I think he was just a normal-looking guy, if not even a little bit weaker. And so the Spirit of the Lord agitated Samson, that he actually used. He didn't cause the pride. He didn't cause the issues in Samson, but he certainly used them to bring about his business, his glory. Okay, and we see that in other places in the Old Testament, where God is called a pagan king his servant. And so God's always at work, and it's not always the way we imagine it. Okay, any questions on what we've seen in chapter 13? No, Susie? Okay, all right, so let's pause there and